There is something very simple yet profoundly powerful that each one of us holds. It is not money, not muscle, not even knowledge. It is choice. You see, a human being is not bound by instinct. A lion will eat only meat, a cow will eat only grass. But you can eat whatever you choose. You can speak in love or you can speak in hate, you can create or you can destroy. This is not a curse, this is freedom. But freedom without awareness becomes a burden. The beauty of choice is not in the number of options. The beauty is when your choice flows from clarity, and clarity will not come from the noise of your mind. It comes when you become still. Everyday life places you at a crossroad. You may not notice it because you are too busy choosing coffee or tea, this job or that, left or right. But the real choice is deep. Will I act in bitterness or will I act in grace? Will I respond from my past or will I respond from this moment? Most people are trying to fix the world, the government, their family, their job. But very few stop and ask, have I chosen how to be right now? The world is only as chaotic as your mind. If you bring order to your own choices, you will see life begins to fall into place. Let me tell you, choice is not about control, it is about responsibility. If you can say everything that I am is because of what I chose, then you have claimed your power. Otherwise, you are just blaming the stars, your childhood, your boss, your horoscope. That's not power, that is helplessness wearing the mask of logic. If you want to walk this life powerfully, not as a reaction but as a conscious response, and then become aware, not just of the world outside but of the world within. From that awareness, your choices will not be compulsions, they will be creations. So don't take choice lightly. It is not just a decision, it is the very tool by which you sculpt yourself. One, choice, the subtle tremor within the human experience, is not merely the act of selecting between this or that, but the silent force that writes the script of what we become. For every thought we entertain, every emotion we cradle or cast away, every action taken or ignored is a seed cast into the fertile soil of time, growing roots into the unseen corridors of the future we are yet to meet. Two, it is not the grand decisions alone that shape our destiny, but the small unnoticed choices. The way you breathe when anger rises, the words you choose when silence could have healed, the glance you offer or withhold, the kindness you extend without reason. All of these tiny moments are brushes painting the masterpiece that is your life, whether you are aware or asleep to it. Free. And yet most walk through this life as if they are passengers on a train whose direction is predetermined by someone else's map, someone else's voice, someone else's past, never realizing that the hand on the wheel, the foot on the pedal and the road ahead all respond not to fate or fortune, but to the silent whisper of the choices they make every breath, every heartbeat, every instant. Four, choice is not freedom from consequence, it is the very agreement to dance with consequence, to know that when you choose, you plant, and when you plant, you shall surely reap, and this is not a punishment or a prize from some divine judge in the sky, but the purest form of justice the cosmos has ever known, that you are not subject to your past, but forever empowered to shift its momentum by the precision of your present. Five, but to choose, truly choose, one must first be awake. Because what most call a choice is often just a habit wearing the mask of intention, and until one sees the difference between reaction and response, between compulsion and clarity, between inherited thought and living intelligence, the seed will fall not into earth but onto stone, unable to take root in the soil of conscious living. Six, and if you listen carefully, in the stillness of a single moment, you may realize that destiny is not a place far away, or a fate sealed by stars or karma, or spun by some cosmic bureaucracy, but a reflection, a mirror image of the choices you are making now and now and now, because this very now is the only moment that exists, and every now is a doorway into a different tomorrow. Stephen, so what will you plant and where will you cast the seed? Into anger or awareness, into fear or fearlessness, into numbness or presence, into selfish grasping or selfless giving? Because each carries within it the code of a grow, and though you may forget the planting, the harvest will always remember and return, not as punishment, but as invitation to grow beyond what you thought you could be. Eight, and thus the seed of destiny lies not in some far-off land of luck or lineage or lines on your palm, but in the sacred space between your stimulus and response, where even the gods step back and watch, for in that single choice, however fleeting or fragile, lies the entire architecture of who you are becoming and what this life will mean when it finally folds back into the silence from which it… One, freedom, the most sought-after treasure in the human journey, is often misunderstood as the ability to do anything, go anything, go anywhere, Own everything, speak everything, consume endlessly, indulge limitlessly. But what most fail to see is that true freedom does not rise from how many options you have laid before you, like a menu in a marketplace, but from how deeply you are aware of what you truly need, what truly matters, and who you truly are beneath the noise of choice. Two, a man in a forest with no roads and no signposts, if fully aware, can walk in peace. But a man in a city of infinite roads with no inner compass, no presence of mind, and no clarity of heart is more lost than the one in the wilderness. Because to have options without awareness is like giving a child a sword without teaching him what not to cut. And so most people spend their lives slicing through their own peace, chasing doors just because they are open, not because they are wise to walk through. Three, you see, life today is cluttered with choice from the smallest to the greatest: what to eat, what to wear, what to believe, what to become. And in this overflow of possibility, we have confused distraction for freedom, forgetting that it is not the option but the observer that makes something valuable. And without a sharp, awake, living awareness, all this freedom of the external becomes a prison of the internal, where you are not choosing but drifting. Four, real freedom begins the moment you become still enough to notice the storm, not outside but inside, the automatic thought, the emotional knee-jerk, the craving dressed up as a decision. And in that noticing, there is a pause, and in that pause, a space, and in that space, you suddenly remember that you are not what reacts. You are the one who can respond, and that is not just power, it is liberation. Five, and yet we are conditioned to think that more choice equals more life, that if we can just keep adding paths and windows and links and tabs and dreams and things to do and places to go and people to be, somehow we will arrive at peace. But what we forget is that the mind becomes anxious not from what it lacks, but from the weight of what it holds too much of. And to be free is not to hold everything but to hold rightly. Six, look closely and you will see some of the most joyful people have the fewest choices, but they live them fully, consciously, deeply, like one who sips water with complete awareness and finds it more satisfying than a buffet eaten in distraction. And some of the most restless and other overwhelmed beings are those with so many possibilities that they have lost the ability to say, this is enough, because they have not yet met the stillness from which contentment grows. Let it be understood, freedom is not about breaking all walls outside, but about breaking the unconsciousness inside. And when you are aware, even in a cage you can breathe deeply, lie fully, and when you are unaware, even in a palace you can be suffocating, searching for some exit that will not come because no door will set you free if the chains are within. Eight, therefore the work is not to collect more options but to cultivate more awareness, to sharpen the flame of attention so finally that every moment becomes a mirror, every reaction becomes a reflection, every decision becomes a meditation. And then and only then will you taste the freedom that cannot be given or taken away, because it is not in what surrounds you, but in what awakens within you. Waiting not for your words or your plans, but for your presence to see them. Two, you wake up each day thinking it will be like yesterday, same faces, same tasks, same distractions wrapped in new clothing. But if you look closely, if you pay attention, not with your eyes but with your being, you will realize that every blink, every breath, every step is a choice. Not just between doing and not doing, but between becoming conscious or staying asleep. Three, this crossroad does not ask you which job you take or which city you move to. That too comes. But deeper than that it asks, will you meet this moment with awareness or habit, with love or indifference, with gratitude or complaint? And whatever you choose, you do not just pass the moment, just pass the moment. You shape yourself in it, and that shaping is not temporary, it echoes. Four, we often wait for a big decision so to decide who we are. But truth is, identity is not carved in milestones, it is woven quietly in the endless forked roads of now. How you respond to delay, how you greet a stranger, whether you pause when you're about to lie. Whether you listen when silence invites you, these are the crossroads where your direction is chosen, even when no one else sees. Five, and the most mysterious part is this, even not choosing is a choice, even drifting is a path, and the road you ignore today becomes the road you find yourself walking tomorrow, wondering how you got here, forgetting that you arrived not by accident, but by the thousand tiny steps you gave away without noticing. Six, there is no neutral moment, no one that does not count, because life is not waiting for you to finally wake up and decide. It is happening already, flowing like a river, And with every thought you reinforce or release, with every reaction you indulge or observe, you lean left or right at the crossroad, you shape not just your story but your soul. So when you feel stuck, when you feel lost, don't look out at the map or the clock or the stars, just look into this moment. Not the idea of it, not the memory of what you were just thinking, but this very inhale, this blink, this heartbeat. Because it is not too late, the road has not disappeared. It is still here and it bends the moment you turn your awareness toward it. 8. And when you finally realize that every moment is that crossroad, not just the ones the world celebrates, but even this one, right now as you read these words, you may stop chasing the destination and begin tending to the road beneath your feet, knowing that destiny is not waiting at the end. It is blooming quietly with each step you choose to take with your eyes truly open. 1. You are not lost because the way is gone. You are lost because your ears are full, your eyes are glazed with distraction, your attention is scattered like leaves in a storm. And in such a state, the inner compass is still there, but its voice becomes a whisper drowned out by the machinery of mind and the opinions of the crowd. 5. If you can sit, not just physically but inwardly, without needing to solve, without needing to escape, without needing to prove, and just breathe as if each breath were a doorway into your own presence, you will begin to feel a quiet tug, a subtle direction, not dramatic, not urgent, but unmistakably yours. 6. Compass does not speak in language or logic, it speaks in resonance, in still knowing, in the strange peace that rises when you choose something that doesn't make sense to the world but feels completely aligned with the part of you untouched by ambition or fear. To silence the noise is not to escape life, it is to meet it more truthfully, because once the noise settles, you begin to see what is actually yours to carry and what you've been holding only because others handed it to you. And in that moment of recognition, you begin to move not from confusion or imitation, but from clarity. 8. So don't look for direction outside you, not until you've listened fully within, because until you find the silence that reveals the compass, you will keep following maps made by others for places they were never meant to go. And only when you are still enough to hear the pull beneath the noise will your steps begin to take you not just forward, but truly home.